Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the previous episode, which I've linked down in the description below, we tried out the regional championship winning team created by Zhejiang, who won the Milwaukee Regional Championships a couple of weekends ago, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. I think this is just an incredible team from the top all the way down to the bottom, and Jay's going to be an amazing player to watch at the World Championships this year as well. So thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it, and if you want to check out the battle that the title and thumbnail are referring to, that's going to be the third game today, but as always, I encourage you to check out all the games as they're pretty exciting. So thanks so much for watching, and let's dive into things. Alright, our first game of the day here, and we're up against the Rayquaza, Zacian, Whimsicott, Gastrodon, Incineroar, and Umbreon. Okay. So, I don't know if this is actually the exact same rental team as the Rayquaza team we just featured, because I don't remember if the Pokemon were actually in that order. Either way, we fought against this previously. The Rayquaza is special. Bronzong is actually really interesting here, with Iron Defense and Body Press, I think. Lecky is interesting for Electro Web speed control. I actually think Bronzong's really neat here, although it has to worry about Umbreon for, like, Yawn. Umbreon's actually going to be one of the more problematic Pokemon to go up against here, in my opinion. Because it can, like, the Rayquaza can cancel our weather, Umbreon can foul play and Yawn into us. So if there's ever a time for Umbreon to thrive, it's honestly this matchup. Okay. So what do I want to lead with? Like, how do I actually beat Umbreon reliably here? Could be a Lecky Dynamax, honestly. I think I'm going to go Lecky, Bronzong, Yveltal, Groudon here. I know that seems kind of weird, but the Lecky gives me the flexibility of Dynamaxing turn 1, and Bronzong doesn't necessarily need to set up Trick Room in this game to succeed. It can simply, like, combo Iron Defense into Body Press to be pretty solid here. But one of the main reasons why Umbreon is pretty valuable in the format right now is because it has a pretty favorable matchup into a lot of the Sun-oriented teams that revolve around Groudon, as well as, like, Lunala or sometimes Calyrex teams as well, although obviously that's not Sun. So it's going to be Incineroar plus the Zacian. Like, turn 1, I could just Dynamax Regieleki. We have a lot of options. I'm not sure which one I like the most here. No Umbreon comes out immediately, which I'd say is a solid thing. If you're Incineroar, you could just, you know, fake out into the Bronzong, for example. Like, I'm actually almost down to just protect turn 1 into Body Press into Zacian, because then I can just max Lightning and have a very powerful turn 2. I guess double protect is always decent here as well, because an Lecky isn't going to KO with max Lightning right now, given that we're timid. So I don't know. It is actually kind of tempting to just Dynamax here, truthfully. Okay, I'm going to go for it. Max Lightning into Zacian. Body Press into Zacian. The reason why I'm willing to max Regieleki here is because I actually think it's really solid into my opponent's comp. If you look at what they have, right, like Rayquaza, Zacian, and Incineroar, once Electric Current is set up, it's just super valuable against all three, right? And I think in this position, if you're my opponent, maybe you just click Fake Out onto the Bronzong slot, and then, you know, Behemoth Blade onto a Lecky, which I think would be a favorable trade for us. Okay, they're not going to click Fake Out here, though, so I think Lightning plus Body Press, ooh, that actually might fail to KO Zacian, we'll see. It's kind of close. Lightning did a little bit less than I would have liked there. Okay. They are just going to Blade. It might be a double up onto a Lecky, in which if so, that's a very powerful play for them on turn 1. Yep, it is Blade into a Lecky. Okay, doesn't bring us down to Sash, but they see if they doubled up into it. It's going to be Flare Blitz coming out. That might be targeting into Bronzong. Okay. Honestly, that's actually not a bad turn 1 for us at all, then, in the grand scheme of things. Because now I've set up the Electric Terrain, meaning I have a very powerful Max Lightning going into this next turn. And we don't KO Zacian, though, which is a slight downside. That's okay, though. I think Lightning should KO the Zacian even through Protect, but I think I'm actually more interested in going for the knockout onto Incineroar now that Electric Terrain is set up. and clicking Trick Room here. Because then I get like Groudon under Trick Room, which seems really solid right now. So I'm kind of down for that. Quick Attack Zacian here would really screw me up. So I'm kind of nervous to see that. I guess Zacian could also just Sacred Sword into LeBron's Onslaught, but yeah, the Zacian is a little bit bulkier than I would like to see there. I really thought the double up there would get me a knockout, but Zacian actually switches. That's probably Gastro coming in. Okay, Umbreon also makes sense. Yep. Although, honestly, I wouldn't have minded just getting a Lightning off into that slot. Now I like have awkwardly set up Trick Room while Regieleki is out on the field. But in the grand scheme of things, like we'll have Groudon plus Bronzong under Trick Room, which I think is pretty strong for us right now. And obviously the Zacian is one hit away from getting knocked out. So, not terrible. Yeah, now Bronzong can like protect as I sacrifice Aleki, bring in the Groudon for free. At this point, Rayquaza is your only real max option. And it is a really scary max option here, honestly. I can foul play with Yveltal, but if it is just the special version, obviously that's kind of scary. So Zacian comes in. Makes sense for Umbreon to just click Snarl here as Zacian protects. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. Oh, I definitely don't want to run here. I'm okay switching to Groudon and going for Iron Defense, I think. But it's a little bit risky to not cover for Zacian at all this turn. It's just, if I get Iron Defense off here, I actually think I just win the game. Because next turn, I can just Precipice Blades and Body Press. I guess Zacian would just switch out, though, no? I do have to be a little bit careful about Sacred Sword here. I could also just sacrifice Aleki here. But I don't want to. I'm going to go into Groudon. And I am just going to go for the safe Body Press onto Zacian right now. Zacian probably protects, but that's okay. The other good thing is right now by setting up Electric Terrain, the Umbreon can't click Yawn onto the grounded Pokemon. You can still Yawn Bronzong because it's levitating, thus is not grounded. The idea of conserving Aleki here is that, like, even just having a late-game Electro Web can be super nice into my opponent's composition. And they actually don't protect Zacian. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the slight risk of, like, wanting to click Iron Defense in that position. Then they could just KO us with a Sacred Sword, which is less than desirable. And it is going to be Yawn into the Bronzong slot. So, I actually could have stayed in with Aleki and just clicked Max Lightning. That may have been the better option, honestly. Okay. Big question I have this turn is whether or not Body Press plus Precipice Blades KOs the Umbreon. I don't think it will. Rayquaza comes out right now. Should be special Rayquaza. Umbreon can continue to Yawn and Foul Play. 3 turns of Trick Room. I'm okay clicking Protect here and then switching out into the Regieleki. I think Aleki now doesn't really serve too much of a purpose for me. Yveltal into Rayquaza is going to be pretty decent in the late game. We're just looking to style out Rayquaza's Dynamax. I'm curious if my opponent's like modified the Rayquaza moveset here. This team, by the way, of course, like we featured a couple of weeks ago, and I went up against it pretty recently as well. But I don't know if it's the exact same sets. But the idea is with that team, it's a special Rayquaza to catch your opponents off guard, right? Oh, interesting. They don't max with Rayquaza here. Okay. I like that decision, honestly, from their end. And they just go for Protect. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. And Foul Play into the Groudon slot. Yep. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I've got Stone Edge here. I don't really care about Umbreon, I think, in the long run, especially because it really can't do that much into Yveltal. So I'm willing to just Stone Edge into Rayquaza here. And 2 turns of Trick Room. Stone Edge and switch back out into Bronzong is interesting. Or just switch Groudon out. Even if I lose both Pokemon here, actually, I don't think it's that bad for me. So, I'm willing to just Stone Edge Thunderbolt Rayquaza. Missing here can be a little bit scary, though, that's for sure. Because if you have Snarl with Umbreon right now, you can pick up a double knockout. Actually, even without Snarl, you can just like foul play the Aleki slot and then just max Worm win the Groudon slot, right? So maybe it would have been appropriate to actually switch Groudon out into LeBronzong. That's an interesting option. They go for Helping Hand, though. Okay. And I don't miss Stone Edge, which is huge. That's a massive amount of damage immediately onto it. And they just go for Whirlwind, but that means they fail to target the Regieleki slot, meaning I get an Electric Terrain boosted Thunderbolt off here. And they're probably Life Orbed as well. So, yeah, the Helping Hand kind of just overkilled there. But, yeah, like, if you're worried about Assault Vest Groudon there, then the Helping Hand makes a ton of sense. So I don't think T-Bolt will KO here, but the thing is now you'll just feint to anything, right? Yeah, that's so much damage. Terrain disappears. Now I can just bring out Bronzong. And what I can do is protect Regieleki, Body Press into Rayquaza here. It should secure us the game because it's the last run of Trick Room. Yep. So like Rayquaza is more or less forced to protect here. Maybe it survives Body Press actually, but yeah, I'm going to go for this. I think one thing in this game is that my opponent just like ignored Regieleki in a bunch of positions, and the first time around it worked out pretty well for them, right? Because I ended up switching out Regieleki. I could have just gone for Max Lightning into like the Umbreon slot because I was expecting Snarl maybe, but yeah, to get that free Thunderbolt off was a really, really big deal. Especially because I'm not sure Groudon can actually just take Life Orb Wormwind there. And the Groudon does have a good amount of HP and special defense, so I don't know what the damage roll against that is, but yeah. Now we should be in a really good spot. Okay, Aleki is going to protect, so that implies Rayquaza is not protecting. I will just get Body Press off here. It actually survives. Oh boy. That's okay though. It surviving is fine in the long run here because I don't think Umbreon can win, but it will drag this game out a little bit longer. So they're going to get Quake off here. But importantly, we still needed the Body Press to make sure that the Rayquaza fainted after Life Orb, right? So now it just gets KO'd. So we've seen Yawn from Umbreon, we've seen Foul Play, we've seen Helping Hand. Don't know what the fourth is yet. But with us having Yveltal in the back, well, actually, this gets interesting, because you can go for... My question here is, with the Umbreon, are you, do you have Protect on it? The thing is, like, Umbreon shouldn't be able to beat Yveltal in the long run, because I can heal back up, especially with the moveset of Foul Play, Helping Hand, and Yawn, but I don't know what the fourth move is yet. I think I will just go for Body Press here and into Oblivion Wing. If we got that knockout, obviously, then I would just have Regieleki out for a free Thunderbolt, and I could switch the Bronzong out into Yveltal. Then we really should have the game. I guess it's not 100% locked up even in that scenario. You can see how much of a nuisance Umbreon can be, right? And that's the value of this Pokemon. Okay, so they're not going to go for Protect. I was thinking about Iron Defense in case they were going to try to go for a Protect there. It's really not that much damage from Oblivion Wing, which is a little bit scary. Okay, they're just going to try to put everything to sleep right now, which makes sense. So, Yawn into Yveltal, but I do get a huge Body Press off here. We might be in for a long one here. It depends on Umbreon's fourth attack. If it's not a recovery move, it's only Moonlight that's the option actually, then they really can't do much here, I think. But if it is Moonlight, this actually will drag on for a very long time. So, we'll see. I actually don't remember. Yeah, they don't go for Protect here, that's fine. Because, like, you can Foul Play Yveltal all you want, but in the long run, we should win that trade-off, right? Okay, it's Snarl. Then we should be fine. I actually get a lucky dodge there, but yeah, I mean, Bronzong takes a little bit of damage, would have healed back up anyway. So Snarl, Foul Play, Helping Hand, and Yawn is the moveset, meaning that you can't heal back, and since you can't heal back, Yveltal should always win the long run, because you only have 2 Dark-type attacks into Yveltal. So we should be good here, especially if Bronzong just gets a quick Wake Up. I actually think it was better for them to just click Foul Play, because now, like, 2 Foul Plays maybe KOs Bronzong, but I'm not sure Snarl into Foul Play KOs. And if you give Bronzong the chance to wake up, I just can win the game immediately. But they continue to click Snarl. Okay. With that then, maybe I'm willing to just click Foul Play onto them rather than Oblivion Wing, because I'm doing such little damage with it anyway. And Bronzong does manage to just wake up. Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, you're not going to KO Bronzong with just a couple of Snarls here, right? So I think if I were in their shoes, I'd probably try to Foul Play it twice. I guess the question is, like, do you think Foul Play actually does more than Snarl there? I would expect it to, but yeah. Either way, though, the key thing here is that, like, we didn't let our opponent's restricteds and Zacian and Rayquaza do too much damage. Turn 1 worked out for us because they didn't double up into a Lecky, but if a Lecky did get doubled up into, that could have been kind of scary. I just didn't think that would be an option because I could just protect a Lecky and, like, easily body press, which was the play I was thinking about initially, right? But, yeah, we do get a win there, so let's keep things going. I had to go back and check, and yeah, that was just the exact Rayquaza team that we featured, which makes sense. You know, there are not that many players using that exact same copy of 6, but like I said, one of the things you can always do to catch people off guard is use a common team and then edit the sets, and I didn't remember if the rental code was in that order, so I didn't want to assume it was just the same move sets, but yeah. If you want to try out that Rayquaza team or check out the games that we had with it, I'll link it down in the description below. Reshiram and Groudon here with Rotom Wash. Hello, my old friend. Landorus-T, Grimmsnarl, and Venusaur. I want Yveltal for Snarl and Foul Play. I think it's the Venusaur that scares me, mainly because of Sleep Powder, so I think that's where Safety Goggles Incin can really come up huge for us. I think it's probably like Incin, Yveltal, Groudon, and Venu, although like... Bronzong's actually interesting because if we eliminate the Reshiram, it can actually put in so much work. Venu is just so strong here though, right? I guess it's actually really weak into Reshiram because I have Sleep Powder. That's basically it though. Okay, I think I'm down for Incineroar plus Yveltal here. Groudon. And... yeah, it should be Venu here. I don't know. Bronzong's kind of cool, but like, it would take a long time to set up. I don't think it's necessarily a terrible choice. I think one other route I actually could have gone with in this game was try to set up Trick Room with Bronzong. But I think the thing is that Reshiram is super good for my opponent's team. So I need to do whatever I can to essentially shut it down. And I don't think Bronzong really helps me shut it down early on. And yeah, they just lead with Grimmsnarl and Reshiram. Okay. I mean, that's fine with me. Like, turn 1... what do I want to do turn 1? Like, so normally with Reshiram, you want to assume it's Assault Vested, right? Could be Life Orb. I guess Policy in a very obscure scenario. If I were my opponent here turn 1, I would actually just max Reshiram and maybe max Quake into Incineroar. So I'm thinking I actually want a Parting Shot into your Reshiram and Snarl you. The idea is after Snarl, I survive max Quake. Then I get you to -2 special attack immediately to start the game. The goal ultimately then is to stall out Reshiram's Dynamax. What I can do is bring Groudon back in, protect Groudon, you know, double protect, and then turn 3 switch Groudon out into Incineroar, sacrifice it maybe, then Reshiram's Dynamax is over, we bring out Groudon, and then look towards Dynamaxing our Groudon. Now, one thing I'm a little bit scared about is my opponent having Groudon plus Venusaur in the back, because Venusaur can just obviously spam Sleep Powder, and I have to be very careful about Dynamaxing if I'm going to get hit by Sleep Powder. The whole point of bringing Incineroar was to have a better answer into Sleep Powder Venusaur, especially because we have Safety Goggles, but they didn't lead it here, right? So if I give up Incineroar early, that could cause some problems. But yeah, I'm hoping here we just get the Snarl off successfully. They could actually double up onto Yveltal, especially if you actually knew about this team. But they're just going to set up Light Screen perfect. And because, like, normally when you see Grimm and Reshiram, you should just assume, like, you know, dual screens are going to go up. So it's like, right now, my goal is not damage, right? I know I'm not going to be able to do too much to you in these first 3 turns of Dynamax. So basically what I want to do is make sure that you just don't get a major advantage through Dynamax immediately. Oh, interesting. They actually opt for Flare onto Yveltal. Okay. And after Snarl, that actually does less than half there, which is very nice for us. 99 damage to be specific. And so we've gotten Reshiram down to -2 already, which is fantastic for us. Now, I still have to be pretty careful here. The sun is set up, right? So we can do meaningful damage still. But now it does open a path for Venusaur and Groudon a little bit more. And then, I also don't have to worry as much about Sleep Powder going up. Or sorry, like Sleep Powder spam in general, because I have Incineroar, which could actually be a Dynamax option, weirdly enough. Probably not, but yeah. I think Groudon is the clear choice here. They're probably just going to Reflect plus max Wormwind if I were them. So I'm down to just bring out Groudon here. The other thing is to consider going for G-Max Vine Lash in this endgame, right? Because I get a lot of value out of that against my opponent's entire team. The thing is, I could max Groudon here, but I think this turn I'd prefer to just play passively and double protect. If I were them, I would Reflect and then maybe Wormwind into Yveltal or Wormwind / Flare into Groudon, but you're at -2 right now. The thing is that -2, maybe Flare still KOs Yveltal. I don't know what the damage roll on that previous Max Flare was, so I don't want to really tempt it. Oblivion Wing would allow us to heal back, though, actually, pretty critically. Yep, they just set up Reflect. That's fine. Like I said, my goal in this game was to shut down Reshiram early on. We've done that decently successfully thus far. Yep, Wormwood into Yveltal. 1 of 4 down to 87, so that did 17. Meaning, you know, if it was not through Protect, 4 times the amount of damage, 17 times 4 is 68. So I can survive another one, but I think in this position, I'm down to just switch out into Incineroar because it allows me to fake out Reshiram. And I'll Oblivion Wing here into Grimmsnarl to heal up. Could have gone for Bulk Up last turn, but I don't think Bulk Up is really worth it. Like, what does a defense boost accomplish for me in this game, right? Yeah, it negates the attack drop, but I don't really need a defense boost right now, in my opinion. So yeah. Oblivion Wing to Grim, heal back a little bit, stall out Reshiram's Dynamax. Then if Yveltal faints, I get Incin next to Groudon. I can just fake out Reshiram plus Bulk Up or Precipice Blades there. We have a decently solid endgame, but the main thing to watch out for is my opponent's Venusaur just clicking Sleep Powder onto whatever I Dynamax. Because if I were my opponent, I would have brought out Venusaur. And you can see, right, like, against this Reshiram, if I had Bronzong in the back, like, what do I do with Bronzong, right? It's essentially a useless slot for these first couple of turns. Grim actually switches. Okay. Into Venusaur! That's a very pleasant surprise. It means I get a huge Oblivion Wing off here. I can see why they did that, because they were probably like, well, Grim's already done everything I've needed to do by getting up both screens, and if you aren't running Spirit Break there and you're running like a Dark-type attack instead, then yeah, that makes total sense. But this puts them in a really tough spot now, in my opinion. And they actually end up flaring into the Groudon slot as well, so that could have not played out any better for us. That is amazing. Still far from over. We want to assume that my opponent's last Pokemon is going to be the Groudon, right? I just wonder now, is there an angle to actually Dynamax the Yveltal? Because like what I want to do here is fake out into the Venusaur slot and Oblivion Wing into it. But I think they're probably just going to click Sleep Powder from this angle, so I'm also down to just Flare Blitz into Venusaur and Protect this turn. Your other play here is to... Okay, they actually don't switch. I was going to say go into Groudon and Protect Venu, but I don't even know if you have Protect here. Sleep Powder. Okay, we should survive Earth Power from Reshiram here. They actually double up onto Yveltal. Oh! Does Blue Flare into Incineroar? Okay. Do you not have Earth Power? Or maybe they were just predicting a switch there? The reason I didn't go for Fake Out plus Oblivion Wing there, by the way, was because... What? I was worried about Venusaur protecting, and then Reshiram getting a free attack off onto Yveltal. Yeah, Groudon comes out now. Okay, we should be in tremendous shape at this point in the game, because I can also just max my Venu at this point. Do I want to switch out Incineroar? And also, they may have, been going for a Blue Flare to cover for Venusaur switching in, which would make some sense. What do I want to do here? Like, I don't really care about you clicking Precipice Blades, to be honest. I'm down to just Parting Shot into Groudon and Foul Play into it right now. The one awkward thing about it is if I go for this, then I decrease Groudon's attack, so Foul Play does less damage. But the thing is, they don't even have Dynamax to play with at this point, right? So Reshiram's going to switch, that's fine. Groudon Protect here would actually be pretty strong, and then Grimmsnarl can pressure like Spirit Break in subsequent turns, but no Protect comes out. Beautiful. Black Blast Foul Play. Through Reflect, actually not that much damage, but Precipice Blades comes out. And we finally gotten ourselves into a position where I can just bring out this Venusaur and max it. And the thing is, like, max Venu right now is just so incredible at this point in the game because my opponent no longer has their Grass type in Venusaur, right? And I have 4 turns of max, and that also means 4 turns of G-Max Vine Lash. And G-Max Vine Lash does not care whether or not you have Reflect or Light Screen up, right? So we can go for the max here. Now, one thing to be a little bit concerned about is Grimmsnarl, like, getting speed control onto Venu, right? Like, maybe you're not Trick Iron Ball, but maybe you have Thunder Wave or Scary Face. I don't really care about Scary Face that much, frankly. But, yeah, let's just max here. I'm just going to go straight for Vine Lash onto the Groudon slot and Oblivion Wing into Grimmsnarl. I think if they don't have Thunder Wave here and, like, they don't, like, they have to essentially deny this Vine Lash and then KO Venusaur as well, which is incredibly difficult to do because without Sun Up now, a Blue Flare from Reshiram also shouldn't KO us. So we should be in very good shape at the moment. Venu's gonna max. And yeah, like, them switching Grimmsnarl out into Venusaur, I think, just gave me such a huge advantage, because that was the Pokemon I was most worried about in this matchup. Reshiram was also pretty scary, but as soon as, like, turn 1 played out, I felt really good about our position, because, like, it just can't pick up knockouts after the special attack drops. Grimmsnarl is actually going to opt to attack here, so it going for a Spirit Break here certainly makes a lot of sense, but at this point, like, Spirit Break doesn't scare me that much. Yeah, you do a lot of damage, but I don't really care, because it's all about the Venusaur at this point in the game. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, Vine Lash itself maybe doesn't do a ton of damage right now, but how, like, you can't heal up with your Pokemon other than maybe a Healing Berry on Groudon specifically right now, right? And it is Citrus Berry, it looks like, but that's totally fine. You still take so much through Residual these next couple of turns. They actually Spirit Break Venusaur. It makes sense because the idea is to just drop its special attack, but the thing is I don't really need the damage output from its attacks directly right now. It's more about, you know, getting as much mileage out of Vine Lash right now. So I'll take it. Okay. You can see how good Snarl Yveltal is here, right? Like, we're Blacklasted, so it's more offensive, but, like, we Snarl to, you know, scare Reshiram back a little bit. Now we're almost back at full HP, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Foul Play plus Residual should KO Groudon here. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Groudon really scares me right now. I'll split my damage. I think the smarter play is probably to double up here onto something to guarantee a knockout. Yeah, that's probably better, I guess, if Groudon has Stone Edge and it crits into Yveltal. It actually gives my opponent an angle to win this game. But I guess since they had Scary Face here, they actually would have been able to outspeed me here anyway. Yeah, but it's just Fire Punch, which I'm fine with. Okay. And we get another Vine Lash off onto Grim. Beautiful. That may have been a crit, given that we're at -1. Yeah. But I think even if it weren't for the crit, you would faint from Residual, and even if you don't faint from Residual, I would just, you know, protect the next turn you would faint. So, yeah. We just had such a good late game Dynamax here relative to, like, the value from Reshiram, right? And late game Gigantamax from, like, Venusaur, Charizard, Colossal, Blastoise, like, it's so valuable because your opponent's just taking more damage, right? And they don't have a Dynamax Pokemon to soak up, like, the Residual each turn. So, yeah. I'm going to go for Max Guard here and just Snarl. And then we actually just sacrifice Venusaur to get a free switch into Groudon. Reshiram should not really be able to pull off this 1v3 unless I get incredibly unlucky. Like, you need to crit a Blue Flare onto Yveltal here. I'm not even sure a crit Blue Flare gets the knockout. And then Reshiram also doesn't have healing, right? Which is exactly why I'm like, okay, well, yes, I know you're going to be super bulky. Yes, I know the first couple of turns are going to be annoying, but if I can weather the storm of Dynamax Reshiram, it's going to be really tough for you to win the game, right? So it's exactly what we were playing towards. Let's Green Ware's off now. We're at -2 with Venusaur, but there's no reason to, like, switch this out into Groudon because I don't even have Earth Power. If I had Earth Power, I'd actually make the switch. But if you look at the moveset, like, what are we doing damage-wise to Reshiram? Nothing, right? So it's better to just Sleep Powder here and continuously Snarl at this point. Foul Play actually might be more consistent since it can't miss, and, like, the timer's just ticking for Reshiram. But, yeah. Foul Play is actually the correct answer there. They're going to Blue Flare into Yveltal. Nope, into Venusaur. Yeah. Cool. It's really hard, typically, to get yourself into a position where you get, like, this late-game Vine Lash value, but, man, did it add up in this game, right? Especially given that my opponent had screens as well. It's like, well, I don't really care about your screens when I have a free 1/6 of your health at each turn. So, now we just click Foul Play. I think this game highlights the value of Snarl, honestly. It's like a single Snarl from Yveltal goes such a long way in this matchup. And that's exactly why this Yveltal's still really speedy, right? Like, and some players with Assault Vest Yveltal maybe give up a little bit of speed, but you are able to outspeed, like, a lot of, you know, kind of the more awkward tier kind of restricted Pokemon, right? And so, like, Yveltal actually, even though it's not the fastest, like, yeah, you're not outspeeding Zacian or Calyrex Shadow Rider, you still actually outspeed most of the common restricteds, and then a lot of the uncommon restricteds as well. So, yeah. Oh, no way. We're up against X-Ray's Ovation with triple Galarian Birds. That's awesome. Yeah, he makes really good content. We actually met way back in the day when I was first starting content in, like, 2014, so really cool to go up against him here. And with that last game, as you saw, we hit Master Ball here, which is nice. So This team is really strong. Like, I think it's just one of, like, I've loved Yveltal Groudon as a restricted combo. I actually kind of regret not using it more in tournaments this year. And, yeah, I think, like, this version is just incredibly, incredibly strong. Triple Birds, Whimsicott, Zacian, Calyrex. It's like, if I can actually get, Trick Room up, I feel like Groudon under Trick Room is incredible. How do I get Trick Room up while beating Calyrex Shadow Rider, I guess is the question. Like, honestly, weirdly enough, the scariest lead I'm worried about here is, like, Zacian plus Calyrex. To which I guess I could go with Aleki and Yveltal immediately. I could just go Groudon Venu here as well. Groudon Venu, Evil Incin. I'm not sure I like that. This one's kind of weird. I also just don't really know what Triple Bird does here. It's really cool to see, though. The reason why I value Groudon Venu here is because if they go with Zacian plus Calyrex, they are in a nearly impossible position right from turn 1. Like, you already have to make a lot of predictions. And Vinelash has a lot of value for us in this game. It's going to be Moltres and Whimsicott, though. Okay. Ugh, this is actually pretty interesting. Like Safety Goggles is a decently common item on Moltres. Moltres might actually just go for something like a... Like, you could just Tailwind and then, like, max Airstream into Venu immediately, right? I mean, I'm down a Swords Dance here. Or, sorry, Bulk Up. If I were them, I would Tailwind and then max Airstream into Venusaur. But the thing is, I don't know your item. I lean towards Bulk Up and Protect turn 1. I might get hit by a Max Darkness is my fear, though, I guess, right? It's just tough without knowing the item on Moltres. I guess there's no guarantee it's Safety Goggles here, so I'm willing to just click Sleep Powder, because I don't think Protect actually saves me that much here anyway. But I do think it's probably Goggles, and if it is the case, this is a wonderful lead against what I brought here. What was the other thing I was considering? Aleki plus Yveltal? I guess it would have been pretty solid here because I could just Electro Web. But the thing is, would I really want to Electro Web in front of Moltres without knowing its item? Probably not. So, like, not knowing Moltres' item here is very scary, in my opinion. Okay, they're going to Tailwind. I have to assume you're faster than Venusaur here. They're not. And they don't have Safety Goggles. Wow. Okay. I mean, it's probably just bulky Moltres, right? But I was really expecting to be faster here. I mean, that just puts us in such a good position now, right? Got the Dynamax, or I got the Bulk Up off. I don't want to greed another Bulk Up here, personally. I guess the only thing I'm worried about is that it's a weakness policy on Moltres right now, right? If you're Policyed, or if this is Trick Eject Button Whimsicott. But if that's the case, like, I don't think I'm gonna try to play around that in best of 1. Can max Rockfall into Moltres here. Honestly, I don't think Venusaur contributes much more in this game, but I am willing to Protect if Moltres wakes up and tries to target the Venusaur slot. But, like, that turn 1 was perfect for us. Stalled out a turn of Tailwind, stalled out a turn of Dynamax, and got a free Bulk Up off. But, like, I don't love it because I didn't know how fast Moltres was there, right? And if it were just max speed, then it should outspeed Venusaur, right? In which then it's like, is that really worth it? Actually, the answer is yes if they target the Venu, because it would mean I'd still get a free Bulk Up off. Whimsicott could have Fake Tears here, which is what I'm a little bit nervous about. It's Encore, though. Okay. And they stay asleep for another turn. Yeah, it's a complete disaster for them, unfortunately. We get a little bit lucky hitting Sleep Powder into 2-turn sleep, but this is why, like, it is so terrifying to go up against Groudon Venusaur, right? Because it's like, you often feel like forced to cover for the Sleep Powder option. But here, by ignoring it, And by Dynamaxing Moltres immediately, we're just in such a good position. So Moltres gets the Berserk boost, but it's not Policy, which is really good. I'm really curious about the item then, because I almost always expect Policy or Safety Goggles these days, but Assault Vest is the third logical answer here. Once again, Venu doesn't contribute anything in the endgame against Zacian plus Calyrex, so like, I'm down to just Rockfall here. I guess go for a sad Weather Ball into Whimsicott. I mean, they can Encore Venu, right? But like, would you really go for that right now? Because you revealed Encore? I'm also like low-key curious about how much like Life Orb Weather Ball onto Moltres here. I kind of want to just see it. Okay, it is Fake Tears, yeah. So I called the Fake Tears out as well. Like, if this KOs Moltres, that would be hilarious. It does wake up. Wait, is it a speed tie? Between us and Venusaur? I just realized that. Right? Because they Tailwind in turn 1 and I outsped them, and this turn they just outsped us without having any speed boosts. Interesting. Well, there's Life Orb Weather Ball. Ah, that does such little damage. Yeah, that's Assault Vested. Okay. Makes sense. This game is still not over then, but I think with Incineroar in the back, we should be in pretty good shape. I thought Moltres... Does Moltres speed tie with Venusaur? I might just be misremembering its... I have to double check this, actually, because I thought it was higher. Let's see... Moltres... Galarian... Yeah, it's 90, right? Oh, so it's probably modest then? And just not timid? Because Venusaur is 80. Yeah. That's what I thought. Did I miss anything else? Turn 1, Sun was up. Oh, Sun wasn't up. Yeah, sorry. That's the reason. I had Rockfall. Yeah. Zapdos comes out. Oh, interesting. Both birds came out in this game. Zapdos is actually a pretty strong pick right now, because, like, if it were Calyrex or Zacian, they'd actually be in a worse spot, in my opinion. But the thing is, I have these defense boosts, or this one defense boost. Yveltal should be really good here in the end game. I'm down to just Rockfall into Whimsicott now. Sleep Powder into Zapdos. I could still lose this game because Zapdos is in the back here. Is that a crit? Oh, wow. It really just does that much. Okay. That's fine, though. Brave Bird goes off into Venu. Sure. No, I could still lose this for sure, especially because I have Incin in the back. That's Life Orb. I wonder if Rockfall would have just KO'd Zapdos there. If so, I should have just targeted it, and we would have just won. But the thing is, now, I actually fear that I just don't have enough offense because they outpace me with everything. In which, endgame Aleki here would have won us the game against either like, Aleki over Incin here would have won us. So, my Pokemon selection here may have been a little bit subpar, unfortunately. We assume it's Zacian in the back, right? Otherwise, Calyrex would have come out last turn. If I bring in Incin, I activate Defiant immediately. I actually think I lose to the bird here. It's really smart of him to bring Galarian ZAPDOS. Yeah, Regieleki would have been game-winning for us here. Okay, I'm gonna give the Defiant boost here up, and it is Zacian, yeah. Oh, man. I rockfalled the Whimsicott there because I didn't think I'd KO this Zapdos, but I should have thought about the fact that it would take a lot of recoil from Brave Bird. Because if we get the KO into Zapdos, we should just win the game, because then Incineroar just cleans up. So my target selection was kind of poor last turn. Just didn't know my calcs against Galarian ZAPDOS, truthfully, but, you know, it's a neutral attack, and we have +1 attack, so I would think it gets the knockout. Okay, how do I want to play this? Fake out Zapdos, and probably just give up the Groudon. And if for some reason Incin gets targeted here, we'd also just win the game. Why did I bring Incineroar? Because they had Calyrex and Zacian. Yeah, so if you have Calyrex over Zapdos here, then Incin would just win the game. But Alecki would have also been fine against Calyrex. Okay, it's probably a double protect here. Double protect is the right play, always. Yeah. I could have switched out Incin there, then into Yveltal? No, actually, I don't think that really does much. Because the thing is, now you can just go for fighting type attack onto the Incineroar slot. And Zacian can just Sacred Sword Groudon. So I have enabled Galarian ZAPDOS too much here. Yeah, huge props on bringing that. It's the correct Pokemon to bring here. Double Bird is super interesting. And it was mainly the Fake Tears. Like, they actually had it. Because if Fake Tears didn't come out, then I would just, like, wouldn't take that much damage with Groudon, right? But if I just needed Alecki here instead. I guess I could have just brought Yveltal out first here. Unless, like, +1 Life Orb fighting attack doesn't KO, there's no way. Yeah, I needed to just Rockfall Zapdos, truthfully. Galarian ZAPDOS looked really strong here, honestly. I don't think I can really win from this angle. Last turn, if I had switched out into Yveltal, could I have done something? Like, Groudon out into Yveltal. But then it's like, I still get outsped by both Zapdos and Zacian here. It's Thunderous Kick, yep. Yeah. That was an awesome comeback by him, honestly. And I think the game looked so strong from turn 1, right? And I was expecting just Calyrex in the back, but I kind of locked myself too much into that. So, like, this one was relatively poor Pokemon selection for me because Incineroar just didn't contribute enough. It's a completely different game if you have Calyrex, right? But unfortunately, that was not the case. And then the Whimsicott had a whole bag of tricks as well. So unless the Zapdos here isn't, like, it's Admin instead of Jolly. If it were Admin, then we could actually still win. So I'm going to Protect here. Especially with Zacian being intimidated. And if you don't have Play Rough on Zacian or you miss, like, it's still doable. Because what we can do is take a hit, Oblivion Wing to KO Zapdos, and then Foul Plays the 2-shot onto Zacian. Protecting Groudon was probably then also just the better play there. Just to have something else out on the field to divert pressure away. So, yeah. Really cool team. I think Galarian Moltres is actually, like, kind of underrated and actually won a regional championship in Italy a couple of weekends ago, and it's used as a very good, like, anti-Calyrex Lunala combo. So there is Play Rough on Zacian. Yep. And Thunderous Kick. So with that play, I assume he's just faster with both. Otherwise, I would expect to see a Protect come out there. I could have switched out Venusaur in this game as well. Yeah, basically, it's like you bring Incineroar if you expect Zacian Calyrex, and you bring Alecki. Because, like, if I had Alecki here, I just bring it out, I just click Electro Web or Thunderbolt immediately, right? And we had Focus Sash on it as well. So if it was Alecki over Incineroar, this game would have been a wrap. But my Pokemon selection was a little bit subpar here. And this late game Zapdos is, like, I didn't think about... It's funny because I was talking about Yveltal and it's, like, speed tier here. But Zapdos is actually a bigger threat to us, right? Because it's faster. I'm assuming it's max speed here. It's just a double protect, right? Oh, they don't double protect. Okay, that's actually pretty interesting. You could lose off that, to be honest. That does so much damage. Never mind. Actually, with the defense drop, yeah, there's no way. That's always safe. Because then you can just Behemoth Blade. I guess the one thing to, yeah, like the reason you go for that is maybe to avoid a miss with Play Rough. But now you can just Behemoth Blade for the win. Really well played. That was a very fun game. What else could I have done differently? I think the Whimsicott Moltres lead is super annoying because the Whimsicott has Encore as well as Fake Tears. Dynamax Alecki works here. I could have, like, protected Groudon on the last turn of Moltres' max. I think that was probably better. Like, I activated Berserk. You know, I wasn't going to get the knockout there anyway. So after Bulk Up, like, turn 2... Even quaking into Whimsicott's a little bit more intriguing as an option, in my opinion. Behemoth Blade should just KO us now with that defense drop. Yeah. So late game Alecki would have been just killer here. Like, I think there were two different things that I could have done better in this game. The first was just Rockfall and Galarian ZAPDOS. I just, like, kind of didn't assess it as a big enough threat at the moment, and it actually just outsped my entire team in the late game. And then the second is bringing Regieleki over the Incineroar in the end game. So I actually want to dissect that loss a little bit more. I guess I've already been talking about it a bunch, but I find that it's a really interesting and fun game, right? And ultimately, I think that I missed some pretty clear avenues to kind of winning the game. And so first of all, once again, huge credit to Raze for pulling off what I think is a really impressive comeback, because after turn 1, I was just in such good shape, right? And so I've already talked about a bunch of it, whether it be, you know, like playing a little bit more carefully with Groudon, not letting the Moltres, like not activating Berserk or eating up a fake tears. That's number 1. The second is talking about rock falling into Zapdos, and the third is Regieleki, right? All of those would have given me a lot better of a chance to win this game. The first thing I want to show is the rockfall damage calc here. As you can see, it does 80% to 94% into Galarian Zapdos with no bulk. I honestly just underestimated how strong Rockfall was here. Like, I thought it would do significantly less damage, to be honest, but that's because, like, I didn't remember Galarian Zapdos' base stats off the top of my head. The other thing was that turn, I didn't really think about the fact that Zapdos would take recoil damage from Brave Bird or Life Orb or Sand, right? Sand's obvious, but Life Orb and Brave Bird, neither of those are guaranteed in that position. And that's because I just, you know, haven't fought against Zapdos in so long, right? Choice Band also actually works as an item there. But if Rockfall had just gone into Zapdos there, then we should just be in a very strong position, because then I bring out Incineroar, get the Intimidate onto Zacian, right? And then I can just either Fake Out or Flare Blitz. It's still not 100% won, because then you have Whimsicott and Zacian against like low HP Groudon, Incineroar with no recovery, and then Yveltal as well. And there was Play Rough on the Zacian, so we weren't guaranteed the win by any means, but we at least would have been in a better position, right? And so, yeah, I honestly just tunnel vision a little bit there. Like, even if Rockfall doesn't get the KO onto Zapdos, which it doesn't, you know, unless you get recoil, what's the point of KOing Whimsicott, right? I think that was a clear example of me getting baited on taking a knockout to see what the final Pokemon was, but it was also pretty clear to me that the last Pokemon should be the Zacian rather than the Calyrex, because otherwise Calyrex would have just come out, as I've mentioned already, right? But you know, I think when you lose games in Pokemon, it's really good to point out different plays that you can make, different Pokemon choices that you could have made, and yeah, like highlight the key turns that went wrong, right? So for me, this is one of the main turns that went wrong, but I could have played the opening a little bit better, where it's like, did I really need to get the knockout onto Zapdos and Rockfall it, right? Especially because I didn't know the item on it. It could have had weakness policy as well. I think I may have actually been better off just like doubling up onto Whimsicott with a Max Quake plus the Weather Ball into Whimsicott, eliminate that from the field, and keep the Moltres out on the field until its Dynamax ends, and then I can Max Rockfall it. But I guess I also wasn't expecting Moltres to be max HP, max defense, and so that caught me off guard by a little bit, right? And so that's the thing, right? When you fight against Pokemon are slightly rare and not as common in the format, you don't have as much experience again, and so you might make suboptimal plays, and that's exactly one of the reasons why you might want to consider using an unconventional Pokemon, as well as the fact that those Pokemon actually have a really solid place in the meta. And then the final adjustment is, yeah, Aleki over Incineroar is just better. If they have Calyrex there, I think Aleki might still actually be the right call, because if I stall out Tailwind, Aleki just Electrowebs, and then Yveltal just cleans up the game for me. So I don't even think dropping Incineroar is that bad, even if they had Calyrex over the Zapdos there, right? But I kind of tunnel vision on bringing Incineroar, because I'm like, oh, it's Calyrex, Zacian, Whimsicott. Incineroar should be really good into all of those, but it actually contributes very little to against Assault Vest Moltres as well as Galarian Zapdos, and if anything, I just enabled Galarian Zapdos to win, right? So yeah, I always like dissecting losses because there's so much you can learn from it. But yeah, that was an amazing comeback, honestly. Yeah, Galarian Zapdos definitely proved its worth there. So I want to try out that team now. But thanks so much as always for watching. GG's. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. All right. Peace.